I'm Alessandra Barrett, Senior Content Editor for JOC, and I'm at our 2019 Gulf Shipping Conference in Houston with Will Connell, President of Gulf Intermodal Services, part of IMC Companies. Great to have you here, Will.
Thank you, Alexander. It's a pleasure.
Now, can you tell me a bit about the connection, the relationship between GIS and IMC Companies?
Yes, Gulf Intermodal Services is part of IMC Companies, the nation's largest marine drayage provider. We run over 1,800 trucks nationwide, and as Gulf Intermodal Services, we operate 200 trucks in the Gulf, servicing the Gulf market.
How is the driver shortage impacting your business?
Well, that's often a popular question, one of our biggest challenges that we face on every day in our business. Drivers are in demand, and it is with the challenges that we face with hours of service, increasing regulations, pressure on rates in the market. It's hard to properly compensate your drivers and be able to pay them really what they're due in order to retain them. So at IMC Companies and Gulf Intermodal, we've increased our compensation in the last couple of years over 30%. And we offer an excellent benefits package to try to make sure that we can have the drivers that we need to make sure we can provide our customers the service.
Have you identified any other areas where you think that you need to change operations to better attract drivers?
We have, for us, we've focused on equipment and trying to make sure that the drivers have access to good quality chassis on a day-to-day basis. By working to be a proponent for motor carrier choice so that we can provide not only our own chassis, but if we do have to choose a pool operator, we can choose the best equipment in the market. There's too many chassis in the market today that are still running bi-supply tires, that are older equipment, don't have the needed safety features and LED lights, et cetera, on the chassis. So again, for us, we've deployed a lot of our own chassis and make sure that our drivers have good, safe equipment every day, and that seems to be a great retention tool.
What do you believe is the primary concern in the intermodal industry right now?
Well, I think what we face every day as a challenge as a motor carrier is the ability to have choice when it comes to selecting which chassis we're going to use under the beneficial cargo owner's container. So if our customer asks us to deliver a box on a particular steamship line, we may or may not, and unfortunately more often not, have the ability to choose which chassis we're going to use. That has a very negative impact throughout the industry, because if we can't choose which chassis, then we may not be picking up a quality chassis, so it impacts the driver in terms of his ability to maximize his production for the week. He may have delays due to tire issues or other problems with the chassis. It impacts the ability in terms of availability. So if we're told we have to use a particular pool chassis and that particular provider does not have availability in the market that day, then perhaps you're going across town or to other facilities to try to source that chassis, which again delays your delivery to the customer. And lastly, it impacts efficiency because you're picking up chassis at all different facilities. You're not able to simply go into the port and say, I already have this chassis, I want to retain this chassis, and so you would drop your container, pick up a different container on the same chassis and come out of the port and be much more efficient. In the case where you don't have that choice, more often than not, the motor carrier has to do what's called a chassis split. So you come out of the port, you go to an off-site chassis yard, drop one chassis, come back to the port with a different chassis. Net that can add an hour and a half to 2 hours of transit time to that one move, and significant cost that's really not needed. If the motor carrier has choice and the ability to choose which chassis they're going to use for each delivery, the bulk of those concerns can be addressed.
Now, looking at just the Gulf, what are the primary issues facing this region?
Well, we talked a little bit earlier about the driver shortage. That's obviously a challenge for us. And I think In the Gulf, it's always a challenge of trying to balance imports versus exports. We've seen a significant rise in exports as the resin market boom has come to fruition. We've heard for over a decade now resin is coming. I do believe it's finally here, and we are seeing an increase in those exports. And so one of the key concerns we would have is, will the empties be here to service that? Will there be enough imports coming into the market to produce the empties that are needed to service that? Or will the steamship carriers ultimately have to reposition equipment into the market? We do see in the Gulf a certain amount of the resin is being railed out to other ports just to make sure that I think they have enough equipment to do that. Obviously, as a proponent of Houston and the Gulf area, we want to keep that business here in the Gulf and handle those exports directly for our customers.
Great. Well, thanks for taking time to sit down with me today.
Absolutely.
I've been speaking with Will Connell, President of Gulf Intermodal Services, part of IMC Companies.